Just before I call the next member, it's a split call, so the member will get a warning bell with 1 minute to go.
Thank you,
I call the honourable member David Clark.
Reverend Doctor. Mr. Speaker.
Reverend.
Thank you. I rise to comment on a few of the things said by the previous member. He was trying to encourage us to believe that this current government has a credible plan for growth. Well, the evidence doesn't really support that, Mr. Speaker. Under the last Labor government, the economy grew by 25% in real terms. This government has actually shrunk the economy in real terms on a per capita basis. People have less money in their pockets and they have more that they need to spend on. Our economy is going backwards under this government. The budget policy statement which we're debating contains a statement that suggests that would lead people maybe to believe that the mixed ownership model that the government is proposing, otherwise known as asset sales, is a sensible way forward. Now, Mr. Speaker, today I sat in Select Committee and heard again from people who thought that was a terrible idea. Simply a terrible idea. Today we heard another 20-odd people, and every last one of them thought that this was a stupid plan. The Treasury's figures suggest that the government will go backwards by $94 million per year when these assets are sold off. $94 million per year. That is, we as a country, us taxpayers, will be worse off from the loss of dividends, which mean that we have less income as a result. Mr. Speaker, this is not a plan. This is not a plan, but it's what we've come to expect from the current government. It's desperate, sweet sugar hits, quick fixes, but no long-term plan. And that previous speakers have said it, and it's true. A zero budget is what you get when your economy is failing. A zero budget is what you get when your economy, Mr. Speaker, I don't mean you, of course, but it is what we have and what we have to put up with when our economy is failing. Today we heard from various people on that Select Committee who opposed this measure proposed in the budget policy statement. We had people phoning in from Norway to express their discontent at this proposal. Kiwis overseas worried about what they'll find when they come home. We had a first-time submitter with a broken arm, an elderly woman who walked through bad weather to come and tell us how bad this proposal was that's in the budget policy statement. We had the Ohio People's Select Committee come and present to us, representing 412 people. They had not been heard by their Member of Parliament, who refused to hear their submission that this asset sales proposal is a dog, Mr. Speaker. They had been refused by Peter Dunn, an audience, to even hear their views on the asset sales proposal. The one man who we know did not campaign for this proposal. In fact, many of the things he said would have led us to believe he stood against it, and now he is standing there currently supporting the government's proposal to sell assets, the very same proposal which the Treasury tells us will take our economy backwards by $94 million per year. We've also heard in the debate from Mr. Hayes, who was trying to argue that one of New Zealand First's proposals was too costly. He shed some crocodile tears. Well, this morning in Select Committee, he described the $100 million or so that we suspect the Treasury's mishandling of the Crown Retail Deposit Scheme has cost as petty cash. That's how we know those were crocodile tears, Mr. Speaker. He described that $100 million that was potentially lost as petty cash. So we've heard from speakers who lack credibility, but they contrast, Mr. Speaker, with the members of the public that we heard in Select Committee. We heard Mr. Les Howard, representing Grey Power in Temuka, who said there is no doubt in our minds people will die from cold because of this bill. He was worried about rising power prices as a result of these asset sales. Mr. Les Howard was representing the people of Grey Power. We heard him and we understood what he meant. The National Party, who sat opposite, were not happy with the submissions they received on the asset sales. They look uncomfortable, they look like they're defending the indefensible, and they don't want to do it. It's in the budget policy statement. It makes no sense, Mr. Speaker, and I submit that it's not the only thing in the budget policy statement which will take our country backwards. Thank you.
I call the honourable member